All right. Well, Felecia, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you here. Tell us now who you are, what you do, where do you come from, things like that, all that fun stuff.
First of all, I'm glad to be here. It's always good to be here in Miami. So I'm Felecia Datus, as you said, and I am from the Center for Online Evangelism. We're an independent ministry, and we sincerely believe if we want to meet the needs of people, if we want to share the gospel, we have to meet people where they are. And everyone is on their phones.
Right now, yeah, absolutely.
Some persons may be listening on their phones and on laptops. And so we want to teach church members and church leaders how to utilize these devices to reach the entire world. So I'm originally from the Bahamas.
Okay.
I studied in Jamaica, spent 5 years there at NCU, and then I went to study at Andrews University in Michigan, and currently I'm just hopping all over the place.
Now that's a very big difference in climate.
It is.
From Jamaica to Andrews is night and day.
It is, but you learn to appreciate it when you're doing the Lord's work and He sends you out on a journey. You just take it and you try to enjoy it.
Right. Yes.
So currently I'm with the Center for Online Evangelism. We're based in Grants Pass, Oregon, but our workers are located all around the United States.
Okay, so from Andrews now, the actual center is in Oregon.
Yes, but the thing is, we all work virtually. We're all working online.
That's how everybody works nowadays.
Right. So it makes it easier. It gives us more opportunity to serve, but we're based virtually in Grants Pass, Oregon.
Plus, virtual, you also have more connections. It makes the world a lot smaller now.
So much smaller. I mean, it's so amazing. Like, we're about to have a meeting soon, and we're going to be located in different time zones, and everyone just logs onto Zoom, and you're suddenly
and you're connected to everywhere, all over the world. Right. So one of the things that you were mentioning is about using now social media tools, because as I was walking in, I'm texting, I'm talking to you guys, and this is generation nowadays. Right. It's just a multifaceted we're just doing a million things at the same time. Right. So how are you going to incorporate evangelism into now this generation? How are you?
So, well, the first thing, as I said, there are about 7 billion people in the world. 4 billion of those have access to the internet. 3 billion are on social media.
Yeah.
3 billion are on social media. And there are traditional forms of evangelism, tent series, going door to door, knocking. And we're not saying when you introduce digital evangelism that those traditional methods go out the door. That's not at all it. What it is, it's incorporating digital methods into the traditional methods. So for instance, let's say your church is having a series for young adults.
Yes.
How do you reach those young adults? They're all on Facebook. They're on Instagram. So a simple Facebook ad, and you can target the age group. You can target the young people within your area. Right now we're in Kendall. So we can create a Facebook ad, find out the needs of our target audience, these young adults. What questions do they have? What are they struggling with? These days, there's a lot of talk about mental health. And so let's say your church is having an event on mental health. You create the ad, you start meeting their needs, you create content, you target them on Facebook, and you let them know, hey, if you're looking for a safe space, if you want to learn more about how to get healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, just any way that you can reach your demographic, then you can use social media to reach them. The other thing is that a lot of the content that young adults are consuming is online. It's on Facebook.
Constant.
And it's constantly coming at you. And so what we're saying is that if we're designed to be a light, if we're designed to be salt on the earth, you don't put a light somewhere where there's a whole lot of light shining. You take that light into somewhere where there's darkness. Right. And so there's a lot of content that's not so good for our spirits. So why aren't we as a church creating positive good content that's useful, that can edify people, and then put it on Facebook or Instagram where they are?
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that I know in evangelism campaigns all the time, and it's a big push, and I've seen it over and over in the churches, they want people in the church, and they want you to bring visitors, and they want it. The more people, physical bodies they see, they think that that's evangelism.
Right.
So what you're saying is, they might not even have to be physically inside the church.
Right.
We need to be able to evangelize using these medias. So how do you suggest?
The other thing, while you're mentioning that, is that we could have all of these evangelistic series, and this is what our Project Caleb is about. We could promote our evangelistic series as much as we want, but if someone has never heard about Seventh-day Adventists, one of the first things they're going to do is pull out their phone. They're going to say, hey Siri, who are Seventh-day Adventists? Or they're going to Google us. And if we are not sharing our story, our accurate story, they're going to read about us from someone else who does not
be as favorable.
And it's not going to be as favorable. And we found out that about 60% of visitors stop attending because our online story does not match the story that we're telling them.
So we need a more online presence.
We need an online presence. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, we have a lot of great content. Our hospitals, our education system, ADRA. We're doing so much, but a lot of people don't know what we're doing because we're not sharing and we're not meeting the needs of people online.
I think mostly it's because our older generation Adventists, they so want to see a body sitting in front of them.
Right. And the thing is, we're not saying that with digital evangelism, all of a sudden everything is just going to be virtual. No. There are not going to be any more physical churches because everyone is just going to be in their living room with the virtual headsets attending church. That's
an argument that pastors say, if I start broadcasting my sermon, then nobody's going to come to church.
But the thing is, what happens is that you are giving people a foretaste of what that physical body is like online, and then they're going to be like, you know what, I actually want to spend some time with you guys, and they're going to come searching you out. When you look at businesses or other things that people are promoting out there, they see an ad online and then they go to the store to get that to get whatever that product or that service is. And yes, there is online shopping and so forth, but the aim is to reach them where they are, and you will draw them into a physical body. It's always to remind them that we want to create a relationship with you. We want to have friendship with you. So yes, we can start out online, but then you can also get together, because at the end of the day, you can't have potluck online.
No, you cannot. You have to establish the relationships. You need to be able to see someone and touch them and see their reaction.
Right.
As you're addressing this need for this online evangelism, which sounds amazing, by the way, how are you gearing towards a specific target audience, or are you trying to reach, our older generations, or are we talking about now more of our high schoolers, collegiate young adults, that those, as we know in our church, those are the ones that always leave.
Yeah.
Our church is getting older, so we need to bring them back in. So who is your target audience?
That's an awesome question, and this is what I especially love about online evangelism. You can actually reach any of those target audience. You have the older generation who is more on Facebook, or they're using emails.
Yeah.
And so your church, if it's an older church, if it's if you're reaching an older demographic, then okay, let's reach them through Facebook, or let's reach them through emails, sending emails. If you're trying to reach the younger generation, Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter and all these stuff that I don't even know how to use, right?
Right.
And so it's so amazing that you can create content and reach people through these online means, through whichever demographic. The only trouble that you would have is if your target audience does not have access to the internet, which we already said more than half of the world's population have access. So you can reach any demographic.
Okay, so now tell me about, I am a local church member. I am not at a conference. I'm not at a union or a division. I am now Karen. I attend Miami Temple. How do I begin, or how do we begin to use this resource, or how does this work now for a local church?
Right. And see, that's exactly why the Center for Online Evangelism exists, because what we're saying is that you can come, for example, directly to our website. The first thing that we're going to give you is a starter kit. And in that starter kit, and it's totally free, by the way.
Free is always better.
It's totally free. And we say, here is a starter kit that explains to you what digital evangelism is. What are your talents? Maybe you like cooking. Maybe you like doing hair. Maybe you like for me, I started like an online ministry, like talking about Afro textured hair. And what we say is that you look at the talents and gifts that God has given you, and you try to find a platform, and we explain each of these platforms, whether it's YouTube or social media or podcasting or blog, and we explain those platforms, and then we say try to find which platform better suits your personality or suits your time, and then we provide that content or provide the resources to show you how do you get started, where can you get more information, how do you launch a podcast. Maybe you like talking like me,
or me.
So how do you get started with a podcast? Maybe you like to be in front of the camera, so how do you start a YouTube channel? Maybe you don't like to be in front of the camera, you don't like to talk,
as me,
you don't want to go live on Facebook, but you enjoy writing. So we say this is how you can start a blog. And it's not just about writing, but how do you write to reach the needs of people online. And so we provide the resources. And then the other thing is that we have free online webinars every single month. So wherever it is you are in the world, we announce, say, hey, we're online the last Monday of each month. If you want to learn how to start your online ministry as just a regular church member or as a pastor, here's the link to our webinar. Log onto your computer and you can talk to us and we can train you.
Okay.
So those are two main ways.
So
and then
how do I get a hold of you?
So we have our website, Center for Online Evangelism.org.
Center for Online Evangelism.org.
Okay,
you guys got that?
Yeah, and then we have our email, info@centerforonlineevangelism.org.
Okay.
We have a newsletter. It goes out. We have several newsletters that go out every single
that we
week
can sign up for.
That you can sign up for, so you receive those free resources: how to start your website, podcast, best practices, SEO, all of that stuff goes straight to your inbox every single week. And then check out our website. We just have so much more content.
Okay, so one more time. Center for Online Evangelism.org.
Yeah.
Now, the content that you provide, that you said you send out to the local churches, is that, obviously it's got to be all virtual because, or email or, soft copies, because you're not going to physically be traveling.
Right. So we actually do
worldwide.
We actually do some physical traveling. So coming up, we have a trip to India. We're actually doing some training. But about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a training in Iowa that we did virtually. And so in some cases, if a church says, hey, Felecia, or hey, Center for Online Evangelism, we want you guys to come in to do a training, we provide that. If you don't want to bring us in because you can't pay for it and you want a virtual presentation, we do that as well.
That's amazing.
We just try to meet the needs of everyone however we can.
At all church levels. So if I'm a local church, I can do it. If I'm at a conference level,
absolutely.
Also. Okay, so let's reiterate about our church hierarchy.
Yes.
So we have our local churches who have full access to you also. Then from there, when our churches come together, they form a conference. And so now that conference, whoever is the director, maybe communications is normally where it would go through.
Right. They can also reach out to us as well.
And then from there, you also have now the higher up, which is at the union level.
We're also creating content for them. So there's really no excuse for anyone to not be involved in online evangelism.
All right, Felecia, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
It has been
so good talking to you. And I think it's great that all of our members worldwide know that this resource is available and that we need to start bringing in people using this very, it's very current resource. And everybody's walking around with their phone in their hand.
Right, and that's what the Great Commission is all about. Jesus said, if you have a personal experience with me, go out, be a witness. Talk about it on Instagram. Talk about it on Facebook. Talk about it on Snapchat. Tell them about what Jesus has done for you and how you can help someone else. And that's why
in any way possible.
In any way possible.
Not like the song, "This Little Light of Mine," hide it under a bushel.
Right. Don't hide it. Let it shine on Snapchat
everywhere
and
possible.
WhatsApp and stuff. So before you forward all the junk that really doesn't edify, forward something
positive.
Good. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Felecia. Thank you. This has been great. All right, we are finished.
God, that was awesome.
Thank you.